twice, loudly and in public in Agra, India, I totally lost my shit. I'll tell you about both times, what happened, and how you can avoid falling into those same uncomfortable situations on your trip. The first incident took place in the courtyard of the world-famous Taj Mahal. When I was a kid in my small-town elementary school in the United States, I wrote a whole research paper on the Taj Mahal. We had to pick one of the 7 wonders of the world, and the textbook photos of the Taj looked stunning. So for me, the choice was easy. And so, at an age when I was barely old enough to know what was happening outside of my own neighborhood, I was learning about the tomb of Shah Jahan's favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. And by that point, I already decided I was gonna visit one day. And I mean, look, I'm not alone, right? The Taj Mahal is the reason that you visit Agra. There are other interesting things to see and do for sure, and I'll mention a few of them in this video, including what I did, where I stayed, and what I ate. But it's the Taj Mahal that singularly attracts about 5 million visitors per year, and for good reason. It was finally my turn to visit, and so I landed into Delhi and took the express train from Delhi to Agra, the Vande Bharat Express. And I was very pleasantly surprised. It's comfortable, air-conditioned, the food that they provide is good, and it's quick. There are plenty of options for getting to Agra by train from Delhi, but use Indian Railways and the Vande Bharat Express if you can. It was great, and I wasn't even in first class. Just a couple hours later, I arrived at the Agra train station, which is bustling and busy. People, cows, and vendors flow through at all times. And then you step outside and are immediately greeted by about 100 tuk-tuk drivers who are all fighting for your business. The tuk-tuk driver that I hired would end up leading to one of my 2 breakdowns, but more on that later. I will say that in Agra and India on the whole, don't be afraid to hire tuk-tuk drivers, or auto rickshaw drivers as they're called by the locals. Unlike much of Europe, India is not very walkable. Tuk-tuks are a pretty cheap way to get around, and they're small, so they can kind of maneuver through alleyways that cars might otherwise not be able to fit. But here's the thing, tuk-tuk rule number 1, make sure you negotiate your rate in advance. Otherwise, they will see that you're a tourist, especially in Agra, and they will try to overcharge you. As an example, my driver only wanted 100 rupees to take me from the train station all the way across town to my accommodation at the Coral House Homestay, which was where I made my first mistake. All along the way, my driver suggested that I visit the Taj Mahal early in the morning. Now, I had actually gotten that advice before, so I agreed. And so, as he was dropping me off, he said, "Okay, I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. to take you to the Taj Mahal. You can pay me for everything tomorrow." So I said, "Okay." And I pulled out my phone and I set my morning alarm as he drove off down the street. I went inside and was greeted by gorgeous colors, an incredible room, and a really stellar staff. I highly recommend the Coral House Homestay if you're staying in Agra. It has really great Wi-Fi, awesome people, a super good breakfast, and it's a really affordable price. This sounds like an ad. It is not. I promise you that. I just had a really great time there. After I got all checked in and settled, I told them that I had a tuk-tuk driver arriving the next morning to take me to the Taj Mahal. And they said, "Why? It's like a 5-minute walk from here." Damn, now I was on the hook for a 5:30 a.m. tuk-tuk to take me down the block. But, I mean, it was fine. It was only 100 rupees to go all the way from the train station to my hotel. So of course, a trip down the block and back will be very cheap. Perhaps you can see where this is going. However, this was not the cause of my first blow-up. That happened the next morning. So, my driver came back, he picked me up at 5:30 a.m. sharp, and all is well. It was raining, but it was also monsoon season in India, so I expected that. We rode in the tuk-tuk, and we rode some more, and I was starting to think that, yeah, this guy is taking the long way. See, the night before, after I got checked in, I had actually left and walked to the Taj Mahal myself. I didn't go inside, but I walked behind it to see the river and to watch the sunset, which I actually highly recommend if you're in town to do on one of your nights. But suffice it to say, I knew how close the Taj Mahal was. But for now, no harm, no foul. We decided to meet up again in 2 hours, and I was off to see the place that ignited my interest for travel way back in elementary school, the Taj Mahal. Regardless of the weather, getting there at sunrise is definitely the right thing to do. Everyone suggests it, so I'm hardly alone in saying it, but it's true. The rain might have also kept some people away, but regardless, I had the rare opportunity to see the Taj Mahal for the first time with very few other people around. Yeah, beautiful. Now, sometimes being a solo traveler is incredible, and other times it has its drawbacks. And in moments like this, there's no one handy to take photos of you. And this was a very special moment, so I wanted photos. Now normally I would just find another solo traveler and ask them to take pictures of me and we would swap. But at the Taj, there are local people all over the courtyard trying to take your photo for a fee. They're sneaky and they'll act like they don't want any money for it, but they do. Because of that, I couldn't ask a stranger for a picture or they would have thought that I was some kind of scammer or something. But eventually I said, you know what? It. I'm just gonna pay one of these local photographers. I want photos. So I saw a man holding a proper DSLR camera and asked him how much it would be to take some photos of me with the Taj Mahal. He said 100 rupees. Great, sounds fair to me. He took a few photos and admittedly they're pretty great. I mean, he even had this whole cord system where he was able to drop them onto my phone. And so as he was dropping me the photos, I looked him in the eyes and said in total earnestness, hey, thank you so much for being upfront about the cost for these photos. There's a lot of people in this courtyard who are trying to scam tourists. He said, yeah, sure, of course. And I hand him 200 rupees, 100 for the pictures and 100 as a tip. He said, oh no, that'll be 1,200 rupees, 100 for each photo. Ugh. I said to him, no, absolutely not. I just finished thanking you for being upfront and honest with me, and now you're gonna stand here and lie? I was making a scene. I went full Karen, and apparently the whole thing was bad business for him because he just quickly handed me back the 200 rupees and skirted away. It's complicated, and I'm not sure that I did the right thing, but I didn't even have time to come down from my emotions because I was about to have my second outburst of the day. Like I said, I don't get angry easily, but when I do, it's hard for me to come down from it. It's actually something I don't really like about myself. When I encounter conflict, I really dwell on it for a while afterwards. Why it happened, what I could or should have done differently. I mean, it really affects me. I left the Taj Mahal and I went to the agreed meeting point with my tuk-tuk driver. He was running late, but I hadn't paid him for anything yet, so I couldn't just ditch him to find another or walk the 5 minutes back to my hotel. He arrived 15 minutes later and I was soaked from rain and sweat and I just needed a minute to shower and nap and reset before going back out into Agra. So I asked him to take me back to my hotel. Now, he didn't like that. In his mind, he was going to drive me around the city all day long, show me the other sights, the Agra Fort, the Baby Taj. And I did want to see those things, and thankfully I got the chance later, which I'll tell you about in just a little bit. But I didn't want to see them right then. And so finally, as I'm getting out of the tuk-tuk, he says, that'll be 1,100 rupees. Now, that first trip from the train station, that was 100 rupees. And now he took me to the Taj Mahal and back, a distance that I could easily have walked myself. And he wanted 1,100 rupees for the 3 rides. And so I had another moment in the street. I accused him of not being a nice person. I said, you're trying to scam me. I did thank him for waking up early, and I gave him 700 rupees, which I felt like was more than fair, and I went inside. Okay, I had some thinking to do. You know how when you're a little kid and you're grumpy, you just take a nap and you eat, and suddenly everything is better? Honestly, it's the same as an adult. I ate some food at the hotel, and I took a long nap, and I showered, and then I went outside to find a new tuk-tuk to continue my adventure. My new driver's name was Lala, and let me just take a moment of positivity here to say that Lala was absolutely fantastic. He was so nice, so generous, and if you ever go to Agra, I hope you get a chance to ride in his tuk-tuk. Lala took me to some of the less famous sites around Agra. We started with the Agra Fort, which is actually quite beautiful in its own right. You get a view of the Taj Mahal from various vantage points, and there's this room of mirrors inside called the Sheesh Mahal, which was closed off, but I did kind of get a chance to look inside anyway. We also went to the Baby Taj, which is the tomb of Itamad ud Daula.
It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby.
It was actually built before the Taj and is sort of considered to be a first draft of the Taj Mahal. It's a lovely hidden gem, and it doesn't feel quite as high stakes as visiting the actual Taj Mahal itself. You can easily just waltz around and kind of just go through it as you please without much fanfare. Lastly, he recommended that I eat dinner at the famous Agra restaurant, Pinch of Spice. I hadn't done any food research at all, and so I was very open to local recommendations, and so I went, and I was glad that I did. I needed this time to reflect on the moments that happened earlier in the day. The best way to do that, of course, is with comfort food, and so I ordered my favorite Indian dish, butter chicken with garlic naan. And not for nothing, It was delicious. Indian food in India is on another planet. It is so good. Once I started to really think, I kind of started to feel bad. Now, both of those men had tried to take advantage of me as a tourist, and that is not okay. However, Agra is a city in which an enormous part of the economy is based around tourism. And as such, it is very competitive. The photos that the man took of me at the Taj Mahal, they're good. And I'm so grateful to have them. He deserves some money for that. I wish he didn't lie to me about his costs, but I feel bad that he did it for free. And I already know how hard it is for tuk-tuk drivers to get a tourist in their cab. It's like fishing. It's so hard to reel one in. And on top of that, you have this thing where you're like, oh, I could never be taken advantage of. I'm a professional and seasoned traveler, so it's a pride thing too. Ultimately, these are small amounts of money for someone who's lucky to come from the US. I could have absolutely paid the amounts that they were asking for without any issue. But when you consider that a local would be paying just a couple hundred rupees for either of those things, max, it starts to become a little bit of a moral dilemma. I gotta know, where do you stand on all of this? What would you have done differently? Let me know down in the comments. I'm still trying to figure a lot of things out as a long-term traveler, and finding the balance between head and heart and pride is proving to be a little bit of a struggle. But just taking a moment to put all emotions aside, I did get to see one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal. And even if I had to do all of that over again, I gladly would. It is a sight to behold, and it is absolutely worth it, even if that means you have to keep your emotional guard up just a little bit.